Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, I appreciate that. I just hit the 3,000 subscribers milestone, so thanks for that. I'll probably do a separate video about that, but in this video I wanted to talk to you guys about Killzone 3 for PlayStation 3, which is a military-styled first-person shooter from 2011. Now, the game picks up right after the events of Killzone 2. Now, if you've played that, you know that in the end, spoiler, Vizari, the leader of the Helgen, dies or is killed, and the leadership of the Helgen people sort of descends into a power struggle. That's basically the narrative, I think. Meanwhile, the ISA survivors try to regroup and flee the Helgen planet. Now, the plot is pretty cliched, military bravado with characters that you probably won't care about at all. But Killzone 3 still looks quite good, I think. The bleak, grey-brown aesthetic, the design of the war-torn Helgast planet, and the red-eyed Helgen grunts is just very well done, like it was in the second game. It's just very distinct. It has style. Sure, there are some muddy textures here and there, but overall, it looks good, and again, it has style. Another thing that the game does very well is give the player that idea of a battle or a struggle, like a war, so to speak. You'll see bullets flying around and debris everywhere, explosions, complete visual and auditory overload of effects, sounds, music, all working together as they shoot to form a real symphony of destruction. But the biggest issue I have with Killzone 3 is that the game tries to be all kinds of things at once. And you follow a pretty linear path, and that will take you through crumbled buildings and trenches to fight in. But you also get a turn section, you get a chase section, you get a section where you control a mag, you get to fight a boss, there are stealth sections. Hell, there's even a space flight section. So it does all these things, and by doing so, it sort of sacrifices the narrative in favor of putting all these things and cramping it all into this game, and in the end it all feels a bit incoherent. It's just not it doesn't have a good ebb and flow of a narrative, if you already cared about the narrative, but probably you won't because you'll be busy shooting and doing things. But the actual shooting is also kind of brief in a way, because you'll be shooting around like 10 to 15 minutes and you'll get another cutscene, and you do it again. You do like 10, 15 minutes of shooting and then another very long cutscene, and so forth and so forth. So it sort of hinders the ebb and flow, and it limits the narrative, and it wants to be everything, really. But it's not a good stealth game. It's not. The boss fight is not great, and the space shooting is not great. But the first-person shooting is still kind of fun. You'll get this familiar arsenal of weapons, your shotgun and pistol and machine gun and rocket launcher and all that kind of thing. And the shooting is actually, quite decent. And also it has a very nice cover system, so it's easy to get into cover and peek over some kind of obstacle and shoot people in the face, which is nice. And I have to say that the AI of the enemies is okay-ish. They will kind of still start running at you sometimes, but also they will try to look for cover and throw the occasional grenade. So that's pretty much okay, I guess. But the AI of your teammates, because sometimes you'll be joined by sort of fellow ISA soldiers who will help you, sort of, but most of the time they'll just get in your way. They get shot a lot, or they just stand there, do nothing. So that's really ridiculous in this game. So overall, it's sort of a okay kind of game, an okay first-person shooter. It got favorable reviews. I remember 8 years ago when this came out, And I can see why this is sort of a flagship for Sony, but you know, because the absence of a really good story and characters really make this game not stand out, I guess. And Guerrilla Games, the developer, they went on to do Horizon Zero Dawn, which actually had a very good story. So they can make good stories, but I have to say, Killzone 3, you know, good story is really absent here. And again, you know, it tries to do all these things, but it kind of fails at most of the things, and it's just too brief and not very interesting in the end. You know, some solid shooting, but not much else. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.